people, welcome to the Laptop Lifestyle YouTube channel. With a successful multifaceted career, Bethenny is the founder and CEO of Skinnygirl, which offers practical solutions for women and has recent releases of the Skinnygirl Jeanswear Collection. She has been a member of the popular Bravo series The Real Housewives of New York City since it began and can be seen with panel members on ABC's Shark Tank. Bethenny became an instant fan favorite by showcasing her business prowess while on society discussion show Oprah. Bethenny also ranks in Forbes as one of its top 100 most powerful celebrities. With an eye open always to opportunities, she is always ahead of the curve and routinely identifies new trends that can drive change in consumer behavior. This experience not only inspired Bethenny to open her own charity, but also to create a charity that helps women facing real crises in their lives. Be Strong provides support from its crisis intervention initiative to give women the confidence they need while they are on the road towards succeeding. Additionally, Bethenny has established Be Strong Disaster Relief. By teaming up with Global Empowerment Mission, they're able to provide people with a huge range of needed supplies. They collect help and provide it in real time to those affected by the recent disasters impacting Texas, Florida, Mexico, Northern California, Dominica, the U.S. Virgin Islands, and New York City. As a result of Bethenny's efforts, Be Strong had marshaled over 10 million pounds of aid that was destined primarily for Puerto Rico. They've also helped coordinate the chartering of 55-plus private planes to help deliver aid and relief to those hit hardest by the disaster. Be Strong has also supported immediate aid programs in Guatemala following the Volcano de Fuego eruption, North Carolina following Hurricane Florence, and the Florida Panhandle following Hurricane Michael. Over 10,000 individuals have contributed through contributing cash cards or donating goods towards their efforts that helped collect $1.2 billion worth of donations and provided 10 million pounds worth of aid funds that were used primarily for Puerto Rico after Hurricane Maria. Let's watch motivational videos featuring Bethenny Frankel.
In my podcast, I always ask successful couples what the key is. And a lot of people say the other person has to allow you to be who you are, not have you on too tight of a leash, and also to not worry about what other people think about what it's supposed to be, to make it whatever it's truly supposed to be for you.
So I wanted to ask you about the very early days of Skinnygirl. What was the inspiration and what took you from inspiration to perspiration to fully fledged company?
Early days of Skinnygirl was just an idea. It was basically, I wanted to create a cocktail that solved the problem, that a woman could drink as her signature drink. I feel like that was when people were drinking flavored vodka so they could feel excited about the cocktail they were drinking. And I always loved margaritas. Women love margaritas. I created a recipe that I would tell to bartenders. And I said the words Skinnygirl Margarita on The Real Housewives, and I could just feel the light bulb go off when I said it. And then it was one of the most asked questions and emailed questions to Bravo, what's in a Skinnygirl Margarita? So I decided to monetize that and create a product, which was really difficult finding a partner that wanted to do it. I pitched it to all the really major liquor companies that were run by men, and most liquor is marketed to men. And I found a small partner who could do it with me, and it really was guerrilla marketing. It was really just basic. Now that I have such a big business, you're wider, you're more horizontal, and sometimes you have to go back to the basics. I have hundreds of SKUs. I have over 20 SKUs of cocktails alone. When I'm launching a new product now, I have to go back to my original way of doing it when I didn't have any marketing dollars, any powerful partners, anybody even who knew who I was. And what it really was blood, sweat, and tears. It was hustle. It was straight hustle. And that's a skill that you kind of always have to hone in on and have. Business, no matter what it is, it could be tech, it could be food, it could be fashion. You have to find your way in. People, I feel, have great ideas, and then how do they execute them? And then they keep hitting roadblocks, and how do you get it done? You find your way in. You come in at from a different direction. Even though I have a big brand now, Skinnygirl is all about practical solutions for women, and I learn every day from my mistakes, my failures, and I come at it from a different way, and it's just as stressful as it was then in different ways.
Could you think back to the early days and take us through one of the worst things that went wrong and how you recovered from it?
In the early days, I had a small partner who wasn't willing to spend ahead of the brand. So he was willing to kind of spend as people had ordered, but I told him, if we build it, they will come. I'm going to market this. It's going to be on the show. And I told him to shrink wrap a vehicle in Skinnygirl. I felt it. I was like, we're doing this. And then people started flipping out, wanting the product, and we couldn't keep up with the supply. And I was ripping my hair out. He got so many gray hairs from that period because I would be like, get the product, you know? We didn't really have money, but I turned that demand into something positive, letting people know, letting people into my struggle. I'm sorry, we're trying to keep up with it. We'll get it as fast as we can. And you know, later when my company was valued by Beam, they valued the sales velocity. And had we had all that product in a factory or in a warehouse, it would have been even more valuable. So you are where you are in business. I mean, that's kind of how it was. We had struggles with getting glass made in China. We had struggles with the label, the logo. I mean, I turned a brand in 18 months. I mean, to get a product from your brain onto a shelf in 8 months is unheard of, particularly in cocktails. Typically, those ready-to-drink drinks people thought were sort of low-end and didn't really buy, didn't do well. It wasn't even a category. It was sort of just stuff that was in the back of the shelf that didn't work. And this created a new category. So then everybody was copying, and there were what we call cheater brands, which still happen now, and still happen, you know, on the Housewives. I couldn't even list the amount of struggles, the number of struggles, and it could so easily have not happened. It happened because I hustled. It didn't happen because it was a great idea. It didn't happen because it was on television. It happened because I made it happen. I was on the Martha Stewart Apprentice, and I was a natural food chef who had a line of cookies called Bethenny Bakes. I didn't have enough volume to make the product in the quality that I wanted. And I remember Target came to do business and Whole Foods came to do business, and I had to say no because I knew that if I got into the door and the product wasn't up to par, I'd never be asked back. So I had to turn a lot of things down. And now, being in places like Walmart, being in big retailers, I realize it's even hard when I have such a major successful brand. So I'm so glad that I didn't make that mistake. You know, you're learning the whole way through. You make intellectual property mistakes, you make contract mistakes, and you can't even think of them as mistakes because they're learning experiences that will cost you so much more later when the stakes are higher. They're gifts.
Given your experience, what advice you would have for other entrepreneurs trying to get their products onto TV?
Television can be fool's gold because people really don't work the muscle. They think, and I guess I might have thought when I was going on The Apprentice that I would just talk about my cookies and somehow some fairy princess would just market and distribute them all over the country and world, and everybody would think they were amazing. And I mean, that's not how it works. So let's just say that you go on television, you are on the most famous show, the most popular show, it has 20 million viewers, and you have a lipstick and you go on the show. Well, if you're not lined up and that lipstick isn't distributed anywhere, then you've wasted your time on the show because no one can buy it. You get one chance, you're on the show, even if it's Shark Tank, even if it's the Housewives, even if it's a show that's on every week. You're not talking about your product every week, you kind of get one shot. Tomorrow, 20 other people are talking about their products. They forgot about yours. So your product has to be ready to ship right now the minute you mention it on television. Your distribution, your marketing, your message, your shipping, your everything. So it's fool's gold because people come and they waste the opportunity of being on television. They mention products that don't even exist, that they're sort of just thinking about, and you just had your chance. Now that chance is gone. You could literally do a case study on every housewife that has tried to market and sell a product on the show and how many have failed. All those ideas are in some graveyard now. While you're shooting the television show, it's hard to run your actual business. Once the show ends, I'm in higher gear. I'm in bigger focus. And all my products and all my businesses, they're like babies. It's like a mother who has 6 children. There's one child that's crying. Well, at that moment, you have to go give that baby a bottle and take care of that baby and put that baby to sleep. And then you have a child in college that has something else going that's more evolved. And then you have to keep in touch with that child. It may be more grown, doesn't mean it doesn't need you and your advice and your expertise as much. So you have to really have a good balance, and you have to use your time efficiently. You have to be organized. Being a mother is amazing for it because when I'm with my daughter, it's complete quality time focused on her. So when I'm not with my daughter and when she's at school, I'm here, focused on you. It really does create a balance rather than everything being all mixed together. You have to really be focused on the task at hand, and you can't take on too much. You have to be able to be organized and be a delegator. It may not seem, well, it's a combination of a decision. Leaving my reality television show was a difficult decision because I was staying for the money. It was a lot of money. And you know that as you get older in your career, you're not going to make it the way you did when you were hot, but I didn't really care. I just felt that I didn't want to do it anymore. And that was courageous because the money in and of itself was good and the vehicle was good, and I just wanted less. I didn't want to do that, and I wanted to be able to do philanthropy. I could never be able to focus on Be Strong, my philanthropic initiatives, in the same way if I were focused on things that were less important to me. And now not everybody can afford that, and people have to do a lot of things they don't like to do. And working crazy hours on doing relief work is not easy. It's very stressful and it runs you down. But if you're doing something that's working towards something great and helpful to yourself and your family and others, it's better than just sort of, I don't know, taking the low-hanging fruit that doesn't feel right to you. Choosing the right partner in business is as important as choosing the right partner in your personal life. So first, it has to be somebody that you obviously trust, that has similar values that you have, but it has to be someone that can work at the right pace. So I've had the small, tiny partner that can hustle with me and be in the mud, and then you're kind of craving the big partner, the people that I'm partners with, like the ConAgras, the Arizona Beverages, the Soda Streams that have big muscle and distribution. But sometimes the largest partners, they take a longer time to get something going. So if you have a new idea that you think is hot, but you want to get it on those shelves, that gigantic partner may not be the hustler because they can't just flip the switch and get it going. Often the middle partner is the good partner. They've got some strength, they're making money, they're not gonna fold tomorrow and not be able to meet your needs, but they still have some hustle.
I wondered if we could talk a little bit about all the different SKUs you mentioned you have, 120 products. Do you ever worry about brand confusion?
No, the brand looks exactly the same across the board. I want more saturation. I know about the woman who's walking into one store and seeing my cocktails and 4 or 5 varieties there. I know that another woman is going into another store and seeing my shakes and the 2 varieties there. I'm at the stage where now I need the woman to walk into the store and see a lot of the things in one store in different places, so it keeps ringing the bell. You need the repetition. You need everything to come together, but you can't expect that in a 2-year period. It's the other brands besides cocktails are in their infancy. You have to push, 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 gently massage, 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 and have it all come together.
How do you see sort of the future landscape of the lifestyle brand evolving?
I don't think the average person knows what percentages that a lot of these people own of their companies. They have other people kind of controlling the situation. So I don't know Jessica Alba, and I don't know, I think the products are lovely and I like her mantra. I think it's been rumored that she owns 20% of her company. So I don't know who's really Oz behind the curtain. I don't know about that. I don't know, when Martha Stewart went public, that's a whole different conversation. You've gone public and now you have other people in your soup. I own 100% of my company. I don't have debt. So I have a lot of control. I have all the control of what's going on. When something goes wrong, it's all on me. When something goes right, it's all on me. I take full responsibility, and I can't rest on my laurels of the success of the Skinnygirl cocktails. I could have just said, okay, let everybody think about how great I am and the wonderful thing that I did, and I was on Forbes magazine, but I decided to keep the 9 pieces of the pizza and go do it again and again and learn my mistakes and learn my lessons and inspire women. Be able to tell other entrepreneurs what I've gone through, what they will go through, and this is the point, to help other people. I'm still learning. I've been asked to write business books. I wouldn't even know what to write. I'm in the grit right now. I'm not an expert on anything. I'm learning every single day.
What's the one piece of advice you would have for another entrepreneur just starting out?
It's about the execution. I always bring up the Winklevoss twins, those guys that said that they created Facebook, and the bottom line is, he executed Facebook. I have no idea the answer to that question. He named it, he executed it. It has changed the world, so it's who executes. 10 different people could have the same idea. It's happened. Spinning's been around for 25 years. The mash-in ice cream that Cold Stone Creamery did was at Steve's Ice Cream in Great Neck 25 years ago. It's who's gonna execute the idea. So that morning, I thought I was possibly going to go back. And because a lot of you are interested in business and probably negotiate a decent amount, it wasn't about money. If I went back, it was about money, if that makes any sense. I just didn't, everyone, when I joined the Housewives, everyone told me not to do it, and I went with my gut to do it. And when I thought about leaving, everyone told me not to leave, and I went with my gut to leave. I just think that I've never really made business decisions about money. When I sold my cocktail business to Beam, everyone thought it was about the money. It was really more about the street cred, and it was because my partner and I owned the Skinnygirl intellectual property together, and I wanted to extract that, and I own all of the Skinnygirl intellectual property besides cocktails. I did it to extract the IP for the street cred, and then also because this multi-billion-dollar company would be marketing this brand that I owned most of. I'm no longer partners with Beam and Cocktails, so that deal is done. But that was why I did that. So leaving the Housewives was because I think that I just didn't want to be, I like to leave when something for me is at its peak. And I was talking to Bravo about many different things, and I just decided, let's roll. It's time to go. Well, it's funny because the show was a great platform that I used. I mean, it wasn't like Bravo wanted to build the Skinnygirl brand. In fact, the Bethenny clause is the name of the clause that reality stars all have to sign in contracts. All Hollywood agents, entertainment agents know about the Bethenny clause. It's the clause that means that if you sign onto a reality show, you have to sign that if you create a business and it's successful, you give a piece to the network. So nobody was happy about that. When I started off, and for years, I was building the Skinnygirl brand, but because it was a joke and my logo wasn't good at that time and I was going through struggles, it was something to showcase. When it became really successful, they didn't show it that much. If you watched the last couple of years, you really didn't see that much about my denim line, or you saw my philanthropy because that's something new. But it became not a platform for me personally for business anymore because I had been successful at it. And I would say, I don't understand. So this person on my show has a fake business that's not real, but we're focusing on that because that's more funny.
Right.
But we're not focusing on my real business. So it really became one of the reasons to leave too, is that it really wasn't for me a platform anymore. It was a platform for me, but to the same audience. Things open up when I'm not on the Housewives, because I left for 3 years, and so many things, so many calls do we get when I leave. So you have to make choices. It's like breaking up with someone when you're just in the relationship and it's sort of okay, but you just think when you jump, when you fly, you're gonna fly. You can't, the easy decisions aren't the ones that really define you, So it wasn't that easy to leave because I was being paid very, very well, and I like the comedy. I miss the comedic outlet. I'm not the person for this conversation because I've always been about female empowerment. I've never even seen gender. I don't see race, I don't see religion, I don't see gender. That doesn't even occur to me. Just go in and be the best and get the money. Because I have amazing ideas and I execute and I'm honest and I'm straightforward and I'm cutthroat and I don't think about that. It's like I always say, Michael Phelps, he gets to that wall because he's not looking what's going to the right or the left. I'm just not the one that's gonna be complaining about woe is me. I mean, listen, I've gotten restaurant tables before a man because I have breasts, I'm sure of it. So I'm just saying that, for me, I don't mean that I've shown them to get the restaurant table. I just believe that I've walked up and said, hi, and maybe a man, in a suit all buttoned up might not. I just am not that person that thinks about, I'm not the person for that. I employ women, I inspire women, I promote women, I am all about women, but I'm about telling women, just go get it, be better, just have amazing ideas, execute. Most people don't work hard. Most people don't really work hard. Most people move the papers around the desk, metaphorically also, and think they're working hard. Most people don't work, I've found that. And the people that work really hard, it's not about taking an amazing Instagram post or how, connected you are, how good you look, or if you do, have cleavage or if you're good looking. It's not about that. It's about working hard. People see it in other people. My greatest strength as an entrepreneur is execution, being able to execute. It's not about the idea. so many people have amazing ideas, and so often do I hear, well, don't take that idea and don't tell anybody, and I don't even think like that. Like most people, I talk about Mark Zuckerberg, I talk about the Winklevoss twins, and that they said that they created Facebook. Whoever executed that idea was the person who was going to succeed at any idea. I mean, I took spinning classes 30 years ago, and then SoulCycle came in, and my friend was like, no, it's like a spiritual experience. You feel yourself, you go on a journey. I go, no, my ass was just glued to a seat. It's a spinning class. What are you talking about? It was like a different, branding of it. And years ago, Steve's Ice Cream was mashing that ice cream on that slab, and then they went out of business, and then Cold Stone Creamery came, and it's like, this is different, but it wasn't. It was just the execution. So I just believe that there could be 20 different things, and if you have an idea and you think it's a good one and you're an executor, you don't have to run away because someone else has done it, because someone else has done most things. I had nothing, I was nothing, I knew nothing. It was the greatest thing in the world. If I knew anything, the first time I ever went to sign bottles in one of these mega liquor stores, kind of like a trend that I started, bottle signings. I got pregnant while I was launching this brand, and I was like 7.5 months pregnant in a liquor store. Like, it's not the best look. But I looked around and I saw all these bottles. I said, what the hell? Like, oh, other people are in the liquor business? Like, I would never have done it. Ignorance was bliss. I thought I had a good idea. I had that Michael Phelps tunnel vision, and I executed it. When I first sold the cocktail portion, I remember I was in Dallas, and I still really don't buy things retail. I'm always like, I have nice, expensive things, some things, but I'm definitely like I don't want to say bargain. I'm very frugal in that way, or sensible. And I went and I was in a shopping center, and I had to call my banker to ask him if I could buy this retail Louboutin purse. He's like, yeah, it's okay. So I don't understand, as much as I'm decent with money, I don't understand money that much. I don't really ever understand how much things really are. I don't mean like milk. I mean, am I allowed to do this? Can I do that? I have noise because I grew up in a gambling household, 6 cars in the driveway, then 0 cars in the driveway. No furniture in the whole house but a card table. My bedroom was designed perfectly in Forest Hill. I never really, at the racetrack, I grew up going at the racetrack with 2 horse trainers for fathers, so it was the highs and lows. You had people there that were Saudi princes owning horses and the Firestones and the Whitneys and the Blue Bloods, and then you had grooms, and I was a hot walker walking the horses around. You ever hear the expression, ridden hard and put away wet? It's usually about a woman who's worked a little too hard in the night and not been rested properly, but it's about horses. That's the real,
Thanks for clearing that.
Jesus, people. It's okay to laugh at Yahoo. So yes, if you don't walk a horse after it has its workout, it's like not a good thing. It's called ridden hard and put away wet. So in the morning, I would have to wash them and then walk them around the shed row for 30 minutes.
Skinnygirl was a monster. It was a big business win for you.
It was the fastest growing liquor brand in history at that time.
I was in the business, so I remember.
Oh, you do, yeah. And I've literally had people from. Well, funny that you say that, because the first signing, I sort of started that sign bottle thing, bottle signing celebrity things, because when I got into it, celebrities would hide their drinks. You weren't allowed. Now everyone's smiling with the drink, but because when you see someone cash out, you're like, all right, now let's all start drinking and promoting it. But when I first went to my first signing at one of those big wine stores like you're talking about, I was mesmerized. I could not believe this is like a department store of alcohol. And I thought I was...
Because you're a city girl and it was all bodegas and small little wine shops.
I also don't like to go into establish. I don't like to transact, so I don't go out like that. And I'm just like...
So you love internet buying. Love. Beyond. It was made for you.
I didn't know it, but yes.
Yes.
I didn't understand it, and yeah, that would be a mess. Living a great life is living your life honestly. I find that so many people are more worried about other people thinking they have a great life than actually having what they feel is a great life. And it's, for me, I really do what I want. I really do exactly what I want in business, in my personal life. And it's been so overused saying I give 0 fucks, but most things I really do give 0 fucks about. So, and I only sweat the small stuff. So all the big stuff I'm not really that worried about. And by the way, back to that thing about the dating though, I don't think that every guy, they have a sense of me, but I would not want to date a guy that really completely knew about me, knows what shows I'm on and stuff. The guy that I would go out with doesn't watch The Housewives, sorry Andy Cohen, and he doesn't have an Instagram account. I am a person who goes with my gut on all things. In relationships, I wrote a book called I Suck at Relationships, So You Don't Have To, and I believe that you should go with your gut, but I haven't in the past. But in business, 100%.
You have not gone with your gut in relationships in the past?
No.
So you've gone on what looks good on paper?
No, I've negotiated with myself and convinced myself into something. I'm totally decisive and totally go with my gut. I could literally, I'll spend more time on what to do about a pair of shoes than I will about a company or a big house or things like that.
Let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah, but I'm a go with my gut person. Doesn't mean that I don't then do research, but if I did research on a business, I would then have somebody else do that. But actually, that's not true. My research is fiddling around the internet and seeing what's out there and what I think. I feel that being on television and being a woman and a strong woman, that I have a responsibility to, communicate how I feel and inspire and be honest. And I feel responsibility. By the same token, I don't really think about what people think about me, because I feel like if you try to please everybody, you end up pleasing nobody. And I believe that you shouldn't buy into the love, how much people love you, get all jacked up by that, or buy into the hate, how much they hate you. So I feel like I'm right down the middle with that. I'm polarizing. I know people hate me, people love me, and I'm not, I don't play favorites. If you hate me, I respect it, because, you have an opinion and you're allowed to. And if you love me, I love it and it's great, and you're helping pay my mortgage and my kids' everything. So it is what it is. So here's the thing.
Honda's pumped right now.
So when I wrote...
Johnny Honda is corporate right now, is like, yes!
What is wrong with Honda? Okay, it was a great advertising campaign. So basically, I wrote this book, Naturally Thin. When I went to pitch the book to get it published, I was told it would never happen because they needed 6 weeks to blah, 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 1,500 calories to lose 8 pounds, whatever. And I said, the world is changing. It's going to be more about well-being, natural, just the word lifestyle, meaning it's just the way that you live, versus it being like, on Monday I'm going to be good when I was bad yesterday. Food is my best friend or my enemy. And, I feel fat, I feel bad. Instead of beating ourselves up, being, allowing, instead of depriving, indulging, which is what the whole skinny girl thing is about.
Sure.
Not how do we avoid the brownies at the office.
It's offense versus defense.
How do we avoid the brownies at the office? No, 100%. It's not how to avoid.
Eat every fucking brownie.
No, it's not eat every fucking brownie.
I got excited.
It's how to have a relationship with the brownies and just have one brownie versus binging and then beating yourself up and
That's
going
exactly
and
right.
But so I don't work out every day like everybody thinks.
What?
I do yoga a couple of times a week, and I walk on the beach when I can, and I snowboard when I can, and that's all that I do. And everybody thinks I'm like in the gym every day. So I believe it really has to be very balanced with that book. And it was why people lost 120 pounds, but then people lost 5 pounds, and they were equally as moved because the people who lost 5 pounds said they got rid of the noise.
Psychological.
They got rid of the being just 100%. Imprisoned by it. So it's a relationship with food. So I would not be about meal plans. I don't like words like that, meal plans, and I don't like words like breaking habits that you said, but I like giving people the tools to make their own decisions. And I like a morning meditation, like you said, coming on someone's computer as they sit at work and they can choose to do the 5-minute meditation, or maybe having yoga available. I think that, so if it was a Wall Street company and you know that these guys are very, very competitive, you might have it be some sort of boot camp thing with some sort of like, it's not like gambling, but some real incentive. So it's really competitive. And so this one wins that, or a dinner at Sparks Steakhouse, or, a vacation for whatever. If it's a big company, they can afford it.
I love that you use Sparks.
And then right, because it's guys like meatheads in Wall Street. But if you were at another type of company, or if it's really intense, you'd give them maybe an incentive or a bonus or something.
Got it.
Yeah. So I think, but like, by the way, if you could get, like, when you can get football players to play, to do yoga, it makes them feel better. It makes them relax. Not everybody does need to get all jacked up. And I would want people that work with me to work out and to do yoga and to do spinning or to do whatever makes them feel good. That it's just a passion. It's like therapy. Being able to find something dilapidated and have this vision that no one else around you can see. I end up with people who love me so much that I think it's enough for the both of us. I don't choose, I'm chosen, and my new life is to choose. I don't choose.
Respect.
So someone's got all the boxes and they're so in love with me, they treat me so well, and they're such a good person. What are you going to do for yourself today that will make you say thank you to yourself? We rarely thank ourselves. And so few things do I do that I'm like, you know what, thank you for doing that. So what are you going to do today that's going to make you thank yourself? And just gotta like get it done, and you don't have any money, and you don't have any street cred, and you don't have any power, and you don't have any connections. And so you just like sort of go register some website, or just don't think that much about the intellectual property or the logo or about the rainy day or whatever's gonna happen. And in life, most things don't happen. We worry about crazy things. We have irrational fears. In business, most things do happen. Like, there's going to be some crazy loophole that's going to come up, and you just had to dot your I's and cross your T's in the beginning, and it's a tedious thing. And when you don't have the money to afford to, when you can't afford in the beginning to dot your I's and cross your T's, that's when you really need it, because you're laying the groundwork. I mean, I hear all the time about people who, I've heard about famous chefs with real major names gave up their name. They didn't realize they did some deal, and then you get entangled in it, and it links to the next thing. And it's just like anything you do. If you're redoing your house and you want to sort of save money, but you're cutting corners and you're not doing it properly from the ground up, it's going to cost you so much more later, and something's going to go wrong. And business is like that. And I wasted a lot of money. The day after my deal, where I sold my the cocktail portion of my business, the Skinnygirl cocktail portion of my business, the day after, I realized that I left millions and millions of dollars on the table because of the taxes. Someone told me about the taxes I would have to pay, and years before, when I was being paid to be on television, that business told me that I could only get paid through this one entity. So I checked that box, like when it's like, you're an LLC or you're an S Corp, whatever. I checked that box. I never unchecked that box because I didn't know that one day I might sell my business to a public company, and it was a multiple $million tax problem, and there was no clawing back, there was no doing it. It was just spilled money. So the point is, and I couldn't afford the business managers that I have now in the beginning to look at things like that I wouldn't even be able to see. So you're gonna make mistakes, you're going to lose money, you can't do everything right, and you can't get jammed up and trapped and paralyzed by those mistakes, but be aware by me telling you that the shit's gonna go down. So that was in the beginning, realizing not to be penny wise and dollar foolish, that if you can afford to have somebody appropriately running your business or partnering with you or doing your accounting or whatever it is, then you should.
I think most people think it's cocktails. It started with the Skinnygirl margarita, and the cocktail line is over 20 different varieties of wine, vodkas, ready-to-drink cocktails, and we have different partners. We moved into microwave popcorn with ConAgra. We have salty snacks, dips, liquid water enhancers, appliances. SodaStream is our partner. Arizona in our non-alcoholic beverages. The Skinnygirl name, I think it was around 2007. It might be a little later.
Was there like a moment which you're like?
I think there was a moment, yes. I pretty much like things to be straightforward. I don't like things to be ambiguous. I want people to understand when you see this, you know that it's a thin girl. The name describes what the brand is, and the name, I said it's a Skinnygirl margarita, and I felt it, and you have to go with your gut in business. I really think that there needs to be a great low-calorie hummus, right, lower in calorie and better in taste than the competitors, and the nutritional bars, and it keeps going. I only co-brand with certain people. Orville Redenbacher is the best in popcorn. So if I'm getting into microwave popcorn, their name is very tiny. Girl. It's Skinnygirl, and they have never really they really don't co-brand, and Arizona has never co-branded before either. They usually just have Shack on the bottle. So this is what I do a lot of the day. Where I am right now, I enjoy being the most. Talking to you guys, this is where I thrive. And it's a lot about gossip, and it's a lot about my marriage and my relationships and what I ate and what I wore, but this is where I enjoy being.
I was the first.
Right.
I was the first person to go on that show realizing that it could be a wonderful platform. And I only went on the show originally knowing that I had a platform. I was a natural food chef. I had the idea for the cocktail. I was writing books. And I started it, and I found that most of the other housewives look to what I'm doing, and people have then started cocktail lines because I've done it. But I'm now into microwave popcorn and salad dressings and sweeteners and amazing candy and protein shakes and bars. And so Naturally Thin is my book, which I wrote not because I ever wanted to be an author. I've always had a knack for writing. I've always liked writing articles, love writing assignments, but I never wanted to be a writer or an author. I came from a very, very toxic household, very, very toxic family with alcoholism and just chain smoking and living in 13 different places, going to 13 different schools. And there was an obsession coming from my mother's father, just in my whole family background, obsession with food. And food, what I call in the book, food noise, and dieting, and you can't be fat, and you have to be thin. And basically, I spent my whole life, my whole entire life. Since I could probably read or know what
I talk a lot about parents not saying diet in front of their kids or not like making that obsession of their own, passing it on, and that's a lot of what the book is about. But basically I spent most of my life completely obsessed with dieting and being thin and ripping out every single diet in every single magazine and reading all the charts, and it could be anything from Better Homes and Gardens to 17 and always being on a diet. The Scarsdale diet, the Atkins diet, the South Beach diet, the Weight Watchers, the points, the this, the that, the nonsense. And probably for most of my from college, high school to college, adult life, to early 30s, I was always like 20 to 25 pounds heavier than I am now. And I would have been 90 pounds heavier had I not been completely obsessed, spinning and stepping and exercising every day, and always like I was good because I ate this, I was bad because I ate that. And I never was bulimic, I never was anorexic, but it definitely was like a disorder because it was a complete obsession. And I know so many people go through this. But it was my own sort of secret thing. I mean, some of my girlfriends would be like, I was so bad today, I can't believe what I ate, and I'm going to be good tomorrow. And the Monday was always the big day of the diet, or the day after the big binge, then you'd diet. And it just was like completely shackling. It was like being in prison. And as an evolution, it just became more and more tiring. And you get better at the dieting because you know more. So being a natural food chef, you know more about like whether it's tofu or vegetarian or steamed and fasts and all these like excuses, like the Gwyneth Paltrow thing. There's this whole thing about Gwyneth Paltrow. She like over detoxing or over, because a lot of people do the whole bullshit of pretending it's all in the guise of like being healthy, but it's still really obsessive. So there was that whole phase of it, being a natural food chef. And it was in my early 30s, I was going on a trip to Italy where I'd been several times before, and Mario Batali had given a friend of mine a bunch of different restaurants that I had to go visit in Venice. And I was going with a boyfriend, and I was like, I'm done. I've had so many trips where I've gone to Italy, and it's been like torture the server if they can't find skim milk somewhere in Italy. Go beat up some Italian at some Italian market and find me some friggin' skim milk or Equal or whatever, which is so psycho because like a teaspoon of sugar is, whatever, so few calories. No one ever got fat on a bit of cream or a small cappuccino, but it's just this whole food noise obsession. And I was like, this is a trip where I'm not going to just only eat the vegetable antipasto the whole time because that's what I'm allowed to eat. And this is a trip where I'm going to just come back. My jeans are going to be the same. And all the rules in this book, which I call a toolbox, because you could use the hammer and you could use a screwdriver. You don't need to, there's no plan. You don't need to know everything. It's the kind of book that you just read and it just becomes part of you. But all of the rules were born in Italy. And one of the rules, the big overriding rules, your diet is a bank account. And so basically just like the economy, just like shopping, just like buying an impractical sequin dress or something. After you do that, you should buy nothing or buy a cashmere sweater. When you have your money, finances, some of us are in debt, some of us aren't. I've been there, I've bounced more checks than I even care to explain. You don't carry your checkbook around during the day. You know when you've gone out and you've shopped and you've bought something, you have a little bit of remorse about it that you know went over, and then you know that if you're not going to buy something next. That's the whole thing about your diet's a bank account. And the problem with most diets is that they're cookie cutter, and people's lives are not cookie cutter. People are business travelers, people are at mini marts, people have no money, they have to go to McDonald's. The book is about whatever your own life is and being able to be Latin and keep rice and beans in your life, or just be Italian and you want to eat pasta, because we've gone through the days where pasta was the devil and avocado in sushi used to be the devil to me, and all these things that we've been forbidden. And in the book doesn't tell you there is no no. There's only yes. It's just how. And so your diet as a bank account will be the overriding rule. And then there are other little rules like the hammer and the screwdriver and the ruler or whatever. And those are like taste everything, eat nothing. So that's the kind of rule that you'd bring out if you're at a buffet or at a Super Bowl party or at someone's wedding. That's when you're like, you know what, those cube neon cheeses I've seen a million times, I don't need to eat that, but you know what, they have caviar here, they have coconut shrimp. So I'm going to have a little bit of it all. Same kind of thing if you're on a date and you're in a fattening restaurant. You don't want to be that person that's just like, oh, I can't have this or I can't have that. All the noise. The book makes it into a voice and gives you a good relationship with food. And people often ask me, what's the most important rule? And they're all important and they're all made to be broken, except for the check yourself before you wreck yourself rule. And that is, I used to be the girl that would go out to Marquee, I'd be single, I'd get drunk, I'd come home at 4 a.m, I'd go to that deli that fortunately is now, they're closed, the bodega. I swear to God, the chef for my bodega was from Le Cirque. He was so amazing. They just closed, they couldn't pay the rent, we're all in mourning on this side of the room, but it's okay. So anyway, I used to go in there and get coffee cake and get ice cream and get chips, and because you're ruining yourself, you're like, it's over, it's going to be good tomorrow, and I'm going to ruin myself, and that's a binge. That's the only thing that you cannot break that rule because that's emotional. It's nothing to do with actual hunger. You would never be hungry enough to eat what I used to eat. And you wake up swollen with like a food hangover and you hate yourself and it wreaks havoc on your body. And that is the one only rule that you can't break. It doesn't mean you can't have fried chicken, doesn't mean you can't have potato chips, just mean you can't go off the rail. Like Ramona at a dinner party, you can't go off the rails. You can't lose your mind and do something so crazy that people will still be talking about it at Google 2 years later. And so there are other things in the book, like the point of diminishing return, where you have a plate of fried calamari and you have a bite and it's amazing, and you have another bite and it's amazing, and then it starts to not get amazing. It starts to get where you have such anxiety about the fact that you're eating fried calamari or a cheeseburger that now it goes in the other direction and you kind of like a little self-loathing. That's when you stop, because it's never going to get any better. And there will be another fried calamari, there will be another French fries, and there are all these little things in the book like that. Like the differential, for me, turkey chili is just as good as regular chili. Like it's not worth the extra fat. For somebody else, it might be something else. But for me, I don't want a piece of grilled chicken or broiled steamed piece of chicken. I want a fatty New York steak. So that's where I decide to invest. And the book talks about good investments and bad investments. But it's individual for every single one of you. So the book is just something you read. You don't like flip to some chart and rip it out. You just read it. It becomes part of you. You absorb it. You trust it. Hundreds and thousands of people have lost like 50, 60, 70 pounds now I don't know, it's been out since March 10th. And this has been like the baby of my life. I'm excited about the Skinnygirl margarita. That's going to put my kids through college. It's all good. But the book, it is. We're ripping off Puffy's sign on the back of his yacht, and we're going to have margaritas flowing out of the faucets and all kinds of plans for that, because that's going to be major. But this book is the one great thing that I've done in life, because it's changing people's lives. Like people with eating disorders are sending me letters. Their husbands are saying that their wives will finally eat foods that their kids could eat, that their wife will get pregnant again because she was afraid of getting fat. I mean, people have fucked up noise about food. So they really do, because you have to live with it. It's not like drugs. You can't get rid of it, or alcohol, you can't get rid of it. Not that you would ever want to. But food, you have to keep in your life.
As a woman, to become successful and to get your foot in the door, and if you have a chance, you have to go for it, and you have to have a partner that understands it. You have to. Don't get this the wrong way. Women are amazing multitaskers, so to that point, once they get their foot in the door, there is no stopping a woman. I mean, none. I never think that way. I don't see age, race, gender. I don't think like that. I never have. I've never thought, like, what do you mean? I went into an all-male business, didn't even think like that. It was all cocktails, marketed to men, by men. But I will say, being a mother, I realized you've got a kid with a fever. You got to try to look like a halfway decent person. Get a lunch in there, get to the office, do the babysitting, get the homework done, have sex with your husband, the whole, look tan, look skinny, get your makeup on, the whole nine. We could definitely run a country or do anything.
To provide you with further information about Bethenny Frankel as a runner-up on The Apprentice, Martha Stewart, her success then led her to Bravo's The Real Housewives of New York City and Bethenny getting married before Bethenny Ever After. Viewers were captivated by her wit and humor as they followed her personal life, becoming a mother, working on Skinnygirl, and during the launch of Bethenny and Frederick. With Bethenny, she started her own TV production company, B Reality, producing 2 seasons of food porn where she was the creator, producer, and star of Bravo's hit real estate show, Bethenny and Frederick. From cooking healthy meals to starting the Princess Pashmina's business, Bethenny has always found creative business opportunities. As an entrepreneur, she expanded her portfolio by partnering with Beam Suntory in 2011. With the launch of Skinnygirl cocktails, Bethenny established a global lifestyle empire. Since launching the Skinnygirl brand in September 2018, these products have become more than just a business. They are also an attitude that thrives on empowering women to lead healthy lives and feel fearless. Bethenny is best known for being able to identify and capitalize on opportunities quickly, and this led to the company's expansion into a number of categories, including lifestyle products such as jeans, candy, and popcorn. That's it for this video, Laptop Lifestyler. Remember to subscribe to our channel, and if you feel like we've delivered value, please share this video with one person. That's right, just one person as a token of your appreciation for the hard work we put into making content that educates and helps you on your mission of building your own fortune. Remember, you can watch video after video, but it isn't until you actually take action that you'll start to see results. See you soon!